All right. Welcome back to the Festival of Good Business hosted by Canopy. We are back with Marta Miranda-Straub, who will be joining us here in just a moment. But before we bring our dear friend on, I want to introduce myself. I'm Ben Smock, the Director of Development with Canopy. We are a nonprofit organization in Louisville of Kentucky that is growing Kentucky businesses to positively impact people, our planet, and our future. Today is Give for Good Day. We are trying our best to raise $10,000 and more to kickstart the Canopy Certified program. For those of you who are tuning in and interested in donating to Canopy, you can do so by using the QR code on screen. You can also visit giveforgoodlouisville.org and search for Canopy to make a contribution. And we very much appreciate you for doing so. We are very proud to host trivia throughout the day with our partners from Galaxy. So before we bring Marta on, I want to introduce the next trivia question. So first person to answer correctly in the comments section of this live stream will be the proud recipient of a prize from Louisville City FC and Racing City FC, our pro soccer teams here in Louisville. So the question is, because we have an author on with us today, the question is, what author had the year's best-selling novel a record 7 years in a row with 7 different titles, ending in the year 2000? So what author could this be? And you will have throughout the live stream to answer, and the first person to get it right will receive the prize. So without further ado, I would love to bring on Marta Miranda-Straub. Marta is the Commissioner for Community-Based Services in Kentucky. She is a wonderful nonprofit executive, has done very important work in our community for years. She is a coach for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and an expert in that regard. She is a poet, a person of many talents. And so let's bring to the show Marta. Good morning, Marta. How are you?
Hi, Ben. Thank you so much for including me.
You know, it's our pleasure to include you in Canopy events on an ongoing basis, as we're very proud to hear you say we have you on retainer. So right. We're very thankful for your support of Canopy and always showing up for us. So we really appreciate that.
Always will. You're showing up for Kentucky and for Kentucky businesses to do good. So very, very honored to be here and to be a friend and a partner and to take a break from this very energizing and difficult work of being the commissioner for the state. Incredibly honored to have been tapped to do my final legacy here. I thought I was done, but the governor said, no, you're not. So can't do that yet. So I'm here, I believe, doing my best work for Kentucky. So very excited. About 60 days on the job. So thank you for giving me my spiritual candy bar for the day. I always put something in my day that's going to feed my heart and soul, and Canopy is it today.
Thank you so much for saying that. That's very kind of you. And, we as Kentuckians, me personally and what Canopy, we are lucky to have you as commissioner with the state. Trust me. And, to know a little bit about you and to know the amazing work that you will accomplish. I'm excited to see. So tell us a little bit more. Tell our audience, what your role as commissioner for the Department of Community-Based Services means and what your vision is for Kentucky.
Thank you so much. Like my husband said, could you tell me a little bit, what exactly does a commissioner do? I mean, he's that kind of guy. So I told him the commissioner is the social worker for the state. Really is we, an incredible team of public servants and community partners, really provide basic needs, economic support, protection for children, resources for families, food, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We are the largest cabinet, Department of Community-Based Services. We have about 4,000 staff, about $1 billion budget. We need $3 billion budget to do right by the folks that need us. So basically, we oversee the basic needs of families and children: protection, food, adult care, that those kiddos that are being abused, those families that are struggling and are in crisis, those folks that need to eat, so really important work for me. I'm a rural Cuban. I am an adopted daughter of Kentucky. So to have this immigrant brown daughter come out of retirement to serve Kentucky is quite an honor, and I'm energized every day by the work. So, what we have been, what we will do as long as they don't fire me, is is really look at what are the barriers to services to the people we're supposed to serve. Different mandates through multiple administrations have been creating barriers and catch people either committing fraud or not meeting requirements. We're going all the way at the other end of the needle of that. We trust people. We know that poor people are resilient. We know that Kentuckians are resilient, and we know that people need help. So we don't want people to be struggling whether they're going to eat or pay their utilities, or take care of their health, or protect their child. That those are not options that any human being should make, and it's our job. It is on us to make sure that we diminish barriers, create access, create transparency, include our clients, alumni, and our community partners in helping us build a 21st century cabinet. Really, we're a 1950s cabinet. We're not set up for the work that we have to do. So I'm here to create bougie boutiques and DCBS superheroes, as opposed to massive buildings with 4-hour waiting lines, to really provide resiliency, support, and secondary trauma support to our staff, engage healing for our clients, to really look at health, both behavioral health, mental health, substance abuse, and the opioid crisis. Our primary barrier is equity and social and economic justice, with a foundation of that being poverty and anti racism. And we're really looking at families, children, which includes biological families, as well as kinship care, as well as foster care. So we are evaluating what works, redesigning what is not work or has not worked since 1996, and innovating, in order to thrive into a 21st century cabinet. So my staff is reviewing, assessing. We've sent surveys to alumni of the cabinet, current clients of the cabinet, community partners, all of our staff. And beginning tomorrow, we begin that work for a stabilization plan. Truster advisors from all those clients, community partners, and alumni will vet that plan, add, tweak, become part of those ad hoc working groups with our staff. And then we'll do a 6 month stabilization plan and an 18 months innovation plan for the cabinet. So, um, we're here to feed kids. We're here to support families. I'm bringing a primary and secondary prevention lens to the work, infusing the cultural safety throughout for my staff as well as for my clients, and making sure that disproportionalities and disparities are addressed. And we have a lot of really good work to do, and I think my team is excited.
That is very exciting and important work that you have on your horizon. And I can't think of anybody better to be the foremost social worker in Kentucky. And we're so proud to have you here. What is it that you always say? That's, I think, in your poems. That's you're Cuban by birth and Appalachian by the grace of God. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. And then here I am, one of our first pilots. All of our work is inclusive of all of Eastern Kentucky. We have barriers there. People have different barriers. So we're defining urban and rural poverty doesn't look the same. Neglect and poverty are not the same, but a lot of times we get that confused. So that whole lens of my work for now, my 47th year as a social worker, is bubbling up, and the staff is ready. COVID has given us the silver lining of Zoom, It's also let us know that we can create alternative workforce, both development and access to our clients. And then we have the largest civil rights movement in our history, 50 states and 15 countries. This is no time to be neutral. And we need to address things that all of us need to be addressing a very long time ago. The suffering, the torture is being televised. The veil has been lifted from basic needs of people striving to survive in poverty, as well as folks who are on home, and really suffering from an opiate disorder. So these are not personal character issues; these are social issues. And it's up to us to create a system that's going to respond to the call and create a just and equitable space for people who need us to get our services, to give us pushback, and to be included in creating a 21st century vision for this cabinet.
Absolutely.
And then I'm going
That's
to the
very
beach.
well said, Marta.
And then I'm going to the beach.
And yes, a well-deserved beach trip. Absolutely. And, we see Canopy as really leveraging the power in good business to combat some of the persistent social and environmental challenges that we see in Kentucky and beyond our state borders. So putting your commissioner and Canopy hat on simultaneously, what is your vision for Kentucky as it pertains to the business sector showing up?
Right. Well, I think the business sector has an opportunity, a challenge, and a responsibility to really humanize business so that they can be part of the solution for the state. Reinvest in usually disinvested communities and areas, be able to create entrepreneurship opportunities, be able to add values, core values of what being a Kentuckian is about, and being able to create equity around their own business sector, the folks that work with them, but also in how they give and how they function. I really challenge Kentucky business to identify not what they do, but who are they? What kind of stewards of funds? What kind of stewards of intellectual capital? What kind of stewards of being Kentuckians, which is a very proud thing to be, and how to infuse that in everything that they do, how to look at the amazing challenges and the long violent history that ethnic minorities and people of color, Black folks, African American folks are being televised regularly. So we're in the midst of a revolution. We're in the midst of blowing up all the old paradigms because of COVID and because of Black Lives Matter. And I challenge all of us to rise to the occasion to say, normal wasn't working for the majority of us. How are we going to reinvent ourselves in a new way? And how are we going to use these learnings to revolutionize our communities, our business, our budget? And remember that your budget is a moral document. So how are you going to hold yourself to values and morality around where you invest, where you do business, who do you do business with, who do you promote, who do you hire? How do you create spaces that are not going to be oppressive for those who are not come from privilege or the same high schools that we went to? So I think there's a lot of opportunity, and I hope that most of us take the challenge. The Cabinet for Health and Families and my agency, the Department of Community-Based Services, says yes, we're in. And just when you thought that a large, bureaucratic, archaic system could not move on a dime, we have and we will.
Absolutely. I think intentionality with how we move forward, how we take action, and to be very clear about who we are as people, as businesses, representative of the state, representative of the cohesion that we need to see. And Marta, I think our paths initially crossed with Canopy when you were reciting poetry at one of our meetings back when we were still able to meet in person. And
God,
because
the
theme of today
yeah
is really to celebrate the diverse nature of us all, that we're business people, that we are artists, that we're creative, And we would love, I would love, I know our audience would love to hear one of your poems, if you are willing to share, to see the wonderfully artistic side of Marta Miranda-Straub.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Well, I'm going to give you a choice. One is my beautiful, I think, calling card, Cubalachin. But the other one is a brand new poem. And it's a poem that I wrote when McAtee laid on the sidewalk for 12 hours after the Breonna Taylor murder, and as a result of the, I think, inhumane response that our police has had in regards to folks practicing their First Amendment rights and their responsibility to call us and to challenge us. So it depends on what flavor you want. One is fun and got singing in it, and it's an identity in place. And the other one is really hardcore expression of when I felt I couldn't breathe because of what has been going on in Louisville and across the country around our work. So I'll do either one. You tell me.
Sure. I'll put a plug in for your book, Cradled by Skeletons. I think,
Yes.
people can check that out and definitely read Cuba. It was a wonderful poem, but I would love to hear the new poem.
Okay. Cradled by Skeletons, A Life in Poems and Stories. It's a Carmichael's, it's a Joseph Beth, and it's on Amazon. So it is my life story. I thought I was done and retired, but obviously I'm not. This is my latest poem, and I wrote this. On June 1st, and it was just I was dying basically because I was not able to uh, participate in the civil rights marches that were going on. So I was trying to figure it out as a 66-year-old woman who's immune impaired, who has always been part of movements. How on earth was I going to be part of this movement and support it? So on June 1st, the day that McAtee laid on the sidewalk for I think 12 hours before he actually was taken out of there. I wrote this poem, and it just I tremble and choke every time I write it, and it's called "Morning, Louisville, June 1st." I awake with a brain chock full of infographics, woven by archetypal and historical metaphors, tattooed on the soil of my heart. I challenge the existing violent paradigms because all that I am and love and breathe is or has been raped, rejected, shamed, colonized, beaten, murdered, or is illegal. I pound the podiums in public and weep in private. I remind us of the deep wounds on Black and brown bodies, the impotence of white supremacy, and the bodies hanging for hours from southern maple trees while good white folks panicked. And I'm sorry, picnicked. They should have been panicking. The bodies now laying on sidewalks for hours, all warnings to not dare to challenge your own Holocaust or dare to seek your liberation without permission or permits. Often I tremble with rage, call my skeletons to attention, slip on my cloak of courage, and Kicks for Life speaks in tongues, handles copperheads, savors the alchemy of humanity, and feasts on firewater, cigars, and conga drums. Today I weep in public for the loss of decency, humanity, and justice for all that is sacred in our collective souls.
Marta, that's an incredibly powerful poem. Thank you for sharing with
Thank
us.
you. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, it has, as always, been a pleasure to see you virtually, to have your support for Canopy and the work that we're doing. Marta, thank you so much for stopping by the Festival of Good Business, for sharing about your important work as commissioner, and sharing with us the artists within you. So appreciate you
Yeah.
always being a true friend to Canopy, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you for all the work that you all are doing to humanize business and to help us all become a better Kentucky because of your work. Anytime you need me, I'm retainer. Just call me.
Thank you, Marta. We truly appreciate it. Talk to you soon. All right. Well, that was Marta Miranda-Straub, a wonderful friend of Canopy and a wonderful Kentuckian. For those of you watching the stream, we are trying to raise $10,000 to support the Canopy Certified program launch this year, and you can help. So if you are so inclined, you can make a donation by using the QR code on screen or by visiting giveforgoodlouisville.org and searching for Canopy. Also, be sure to check out Galaxy today. Go get some margaritas, some Wakatakas, and snacks. Biscuit Belly, and also to get a damn good biscuit, as they call them, and support Canopy at the same time. They're donating 10% of sales. So up next, we will be with Scott T. Smith, a wonderful friend of Canopy, incredible musician, and we will feature Scott here in just a few moments. So stay tuned. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you in a few.